Hello, one and all. Welcome here to Kitz Corner. So tis the season. Season's greetings. We're in this cough, cold, and flu season like every year. And this time, though, they're making it such a big, giant triple threat right now. Because we're still dealing with COVID. We're in the post-pandemic, but still somewhat in a pandemic situation. I don't know what the hell is really going on with that. There's people now with cases of RSV coming out, and of course, your regular cough, cold, and flu season. So, obviously, the big pharmaceutical industry that has been profiteering off the last 3 years and using humanity as its own kind of testing facility is once again using their abilities to manipulate and try to market once again for their own gains. And it's even more pathetic now. I don't know if they're just trying to reach out to younger people or younger demographics, but they've been trying to use memes as a way to get people in to get more vaccinated. And of course, vaccinations equal more profit for the big pharmaceutical industries, which we all know they're not to be trusted. We know that. We all know that. But I don't. With COVID and the pandemic, people just have done a complete 180. And even the loudest predominant people that were once against the pharmaceutical industry for things like the OxyContin industry and the opioid epidemic are now championing the same pharmaceutical industry because of how effective the vaccinations are, even though it's all questionable. We've dug through it, but I'm obligated to say on YouTube that it's effective, it stops transmission, and it's your decision whether you get it or not. But here's where this gets really interesting. So Pfizer tweeted this out. This is their branching out marketing strategy for this. And they tweeted this out. It says, "Wouldn't it be great if a few internet searches could land you a PhD? Thank goodness for real scientists." I'm not kidding you. This is an actual tweet from Pfizer. Thank goodness for real scientists, as opposed to the ordained scientists that just magically have been appearing for the last few years. They sound almost Trumpish, like, oh, we're choosing real scientists versus the fake ones. Like, who's to differ? Who's to differ? And they even tweeted to a photo. You can see there. It's a photo where the headline says, "Incredible. Area man now full-fledged scientist thanks to one internet search." So this is once again Pfizer's attempt to undermine reading and doing your own research. This is not marketing for the vaccine. This is marketing for people to not do their own research, to not look ahead, to not look and be knowledgeable about all this, about the corrupted chaos that Pfizer and Moderna and Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum. Do not look into the corruption. Do not look into it. Do not read up on things. Don't do research for yourself. Don't investigate for yourself. Just shut up, deal with it, because we have the real scientists. Yeah, thank goodness we have real scientists. You know, like a guy who failed out of college, started a tech business in his own garage, cheated his way to the top, has a corrupted international coalition of charities and scamming, third world nations, who's now made himself a guru in medicine who has no track record of any medical experience whatsoever. Those kind of scientists, as opposed to someone who actually invented the technology, that was partaking in the vaccine invention and knows the recipe, knows it's a leaky vaccine. That's what Dr. Robert Malone is saying. But they shunned him out. They shunned him out for a guy like Bill Gates. So who's to know who's the real scientist and who isn't? But we're not allowed to know that because they're saying don't do your own research. Don't figure out who the real scientists are. This is literally such a joke. Like, are they just writing articles now for the Onion? Is that what's going on? Boo-hoo, they're losing a bunch of money because no one wants to sucker up to the even more vaccines, so they're now writing pieces for the Onion. Is that what's happening? Because this is literally a spoof. This is obviously a spoof. Oh my God, that's hysterical. And thank goodness for the real scientists. You know, like the veterinarian that's in charge of Pfizer. The head of Pfizer is a veterinarian, and that's not to discredit actual veterinarians because I think they're amazing people. I love veterinarians. That's not a joke on them. I'm just saying that a human consumption medical pharmaceutical industry is run by a veterinarian of all things. So that's not concerning, according to Pfizer. Or how about this? This is from the FDA. And even they're getting onto the meme territory, which I don't know if it's trying to market to young kids. I don't know what this is, but this is just painful. This is cringeworthy painful on how much they will go to this extreme. Instead of informing people that the vaccines are this and actually letting people know the information, they try to hide it for like 75 years. They're finally getting data releases on the actual vaccine, which is proving less and less effective, and it's proving it's a leaky vaccine. And even the people that are vaccinated or not vaccinated, they're all catching COVID. So this idea that you have to be vaccinated, we have to, differentiate the society from the vax and unvax is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, so authoritarian, and it doesn't even make sense. So the FDA tweeted this out, and they went into meme territory. And, the FDA is in part with the big pharmaceutical industry, which is why I don't trust them. I don't trust them much like any other government agency because they're co-opted by corporations, which is pretty much the fundamentals of fascism. If you look at the definition of Mussolini. And they said this: are you using social for good? As in social media. Are you using social media for good? Hashtag Meme Monday. And then they posted this picture here of them trying to do a meme. So that's it's so bizarre and twisted. Like it's just painful to look at. It's so painful to look at. They're trying to have a meme about, oh, look at all these people like podcasters, social media influencers that are researching and posting things and sharing information. I don't know, maybe sharing medical journals that have been published. Maybe they're sharing other doctors' advices. Maybe they're looking at other doctors and hear what they're saying and trying to get the word out. As opposed to the FDA that's trying to silence, censor, and hide everything, which is making people less trustworthy of organizations like the FDA. You ever think of that? You ever think why people are less trustworthy with organizations like that? Maybe it's something to do with this. But there it is, posting misinformation, and then the guy files over. Like, this is just insane. This is so utterly insane that people are actually doing this, and they think this is good. They think this is like some sort of gotcha. Oh, look at us. Look at us. Social media influencers are posting misinformation, like how ivermectin is the top essential drugs of the World Health Organization, has been used all around the world, according to all medical journals. Such misinformation. Hashtag meme. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. And it gets even worse. It gets even worse because not only did they do that, but they also did this. So the US FDA tweeted once again another stupid, pathetic meme to try to, I don't know what this is, trying to convince people that, I don't know what the point of this is, but they do this meme and it says, don't be left in your RV for your upcoming vacation. Hashtag Meme Monday. And the most cringeworthy thing out of this is that they ruined a good Christmas movie. Because that's the scene from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's the neighbors that are cranky. I'm not going to spoil the movie for people. You probably have all seen it, but anyway. And the meme says, "Why haven't you been boosted, Todd? I don't know, Margot. I don't know. Maybe it's my decision. You ever thought of that? What happened to patients deciding what they want? I thought good medical advice was listening to one doctor's approach and see what they had to say, and then maybe getting a second opinion or a third opinion, see what they have to say, see if they have alternatives to give to you, and then you as a patient decide what best fits you. What happened to that? I thought that was part of the whole medical science treatment orchestration. You know, if you're going for, say, cancer treatment, one doctor may say chemo, one doctor might say radiation, another doctor might have, some herbs and remedies and home things you could do at home that could help the process. I thought, wouldn't you be as a patient making that final call? But according to the FDA and Pfizer, they're just like, no, you're too stupid to figure that out. You're too stupid as a person to decide what best fits you. So they do these crappy memes and expect people to be like a gotcha moment. This is utterly ridiculous. But it gets even worse. It gets even worse. Fair warning, it gets even more worse than that. Because I saw this. This is from PolitiFact. PolitiFact that the fact checkers for CNN. You know how well that turned out. CNN had to hire them to fact check the 2016 election. And turns out both of them are crap. Two organizations, two multimedia empires had to team up together to fact check the 2016 election, and they got outsmarted by people like me. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? This is even more deranged. PolitiFact says more deaths among vaccinated Americans, not a reason to avoid vaccines, experts say. Just reading that headline does not. How does your head not explode of insanity like that? Oh, more people are dying with in the results of vaccinated Americans, but it's still no reason. It's still no reason to get boosted up. What kind of advice is that? How is that going to convince people to line up and get this? How is that convincing people? Like, oh, more deaths among the vaccinated. Good job. So you better get in there. What kind of advice is that? Jesus. That's like the opposite of when your parents are like, if your best friends are jumping off a cliff and everybody else is, are you going to join in too? PolitiFact says yes, obviously. Like it's the total opposite of what you expect. And this just shows you how insanely corrupted and delusional this all really is. And how unscientific this is. Like, you want to talk about good scientists? You want to talk about the real scientists? This is insane. This is no science whatsoever. Because this should be called for an investigation. If this is headlining and we're seeing more results of deaths among vaccinated people, shouldn't that be called to order? Shouldn't that be investigated? Shouldn't the scientists come together and say, hey, maybe we should analyze this, come back to the drawing board, maybe make some conclusions, try to make some simulations between the vaccine and people's deaths?Maybe we should look into that. Maybe we should investigate that. Screw it. They tell you, screw it. Get into line. It's no reason. It's no reason. Good Lord. And we all know that the only reason that stuff like this is allowed to be said in these deranged terms is because the billions and billions of dollars that Pfizer has made and Moderna has made and AstraZeneca has made, the big pharmaceutical giants have made in this, is buying up all the media, is buying up all the advertising, all the people that are talking about it, all the data analysis. That's why they're trying to promote as much of it as possible and try to shun away actual real science, because the whole point of science is understanding and trying to contradict and having an opposing view. You're supposed to have opposing view. You're supposed to question science and then decide for yourself and analyze and investigate. That's why it takes years and studies and research, and you do observations and you do analysis. They've done this for years and centuries and generations. You look at modern day science throughout history. That has been how science operates until now. All of a sudden now you don't question it, you just believe it. It's like some sort of religion. And it is like a corrupted religion because it's brought to you by one singular brand. And just to remind people, let me show you this.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh my God. You got to love that last part. Trying to find the sugars in the American diet. Brought to you by Pfizer. That's a kicker right there. That is an amazing kicker right there. But there you go. It goes to show you just how corrupted and maniacal and evil this all really is. That we have pharmaceutical giants that have bought out all the advertising, all the media space, everything to bring you this disturbing information, non-information, and trying to do pointless memes to manipulate people into getting vaccinated. Like, it's ridiculous. What was the point of that? What was the point of those tweets? Honest to God. Other than just to stir up and get people aggravated and epitomize people that aren't vaccinated, even though it should be a personal choice. Like I've been saying for this whole time, I'm showing you all this, and I put this disclaimer out for YouTube and everybody else's purposes. I show all this information about COVID because I want people to be aware of all the information that's out there. And the more people understand all the information out there, the clear image that they have and better understanding that they have, and they can choose for themselves whether they get vaccinated or not. Now, I'm obligated to say that YouTube scientists are telling you that the vaccine stop transmission. It's highly recommended, yada, 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 perfectly safe, nothing to bother. But you decide for yourself. That's what this really is about. You know, you should be allowed to research. You should be allowed to have a second opinion and look into it, because ever since I known about medical science and doctors and patients and just the concept of society, it always came down to the patient's choice. It always came down to, you get one opinion, you may get a second opinion, you decide for yourself what benefits you. But when you're criminally corrupted by evil organizations, they don't want you to have choice. They don't want you to read. They don't want you to have choice. Just shut up, get into line, and get jabbed. And maybe not, death. I don't know. But that's what they're telling you.